Hello, my name is Shyann Washington. I am a freshman at Central State University. My major is biology, and today I will be talking about the comic book The Spill Zone by Alex Povlin. So with The Spill Zone, it was basically just a dead area that was just pretty much destroyed completely. It had no humans, no animals, just creatures you would never see every day, and just a whole bunch of dead people. For the other area, like the normal area, the regular area, or village that was said in the book, it was just a regular place. They had regular jobs, regular people, police officers. It was just a regular lifestyle. The people who lived in this village, they were all interested in the zone. Everybody wanted to know what it was about. In scene one, Addison, or Addie for short, was selling the pictures she took in the spill zone for lots of cash. She had dozens of pictures of the spill zone, but none of the pictures were positive or actually appealing. Don't get me wrong, they were beautiful, but the meaning behind them were not. The funny thing is, though, in Detroit a few years back, some disaster pictures were taken by Romaine Meffrey and more. The pictures were so beautiful alone that there was no people in the pictures, no living thing, just nothing but disaster. Detroiters were actually outraged that these tourists came to their home and didn't use them in their book, but just the abandoned things that they seen. The pictures were so good, it was called disaster porn. Yes, disaster porn. The pictures got so much love that they made it into a museum. Some people were actually willing to go see the disaster pictures from Detroit. Similar situation in the spill zone. But instead of a museum, the pictures were auctioned for high prices and kept by the buyer. All that they were doing was very illegal, from Addie taking the pictures to the buyer buying them. Remind you, the spill zone was kept blocked off because it was so high in demand for people to see. Like, everyone was so curious. Hell, it was more protected than the regular city itself. Just like the pictures that were taken in Detroit, they were more sacred than the people that was living there. So Addie had a little sister named Lexa, who had a doll named Vaspertine. Both Lexa and Vaspertine were victims of the spill zone, but as well as survivors. Vaspertine does not like Addie because she makes profit off of the spill zone as if it's a showcase when real people were really hurt in that process. Just like Detroiters were mad that they weren't featured in the disaster porn, Vaspertine was mad the spill zone was featured at all. Which leads me to ask this question. Why does disaster and tragedy interest us so much? Now in scene 3, it gets a little more personal. Addie is hired by one of her buyers to go into the spill zone, but in the hospital where her parents were killed. Addie never went there before because she didn't want to see her dead parents. But the buyer was so careless that she just kept saying it'll be okay. But she does not know the feeling and how it's easier said than done. Just like with Flint and the water crisis. Everyone was quick to say, just move. But with their circumstances, it's not that easy. We don't know what people are going through. That's another story for another day, though. Well, my whole take on this comic was that some things that are happening in a fairy tale lifestyle are happening in the real world. Every time something bad happens or a disaster or anything, first thing we do is pull out a phone or try to record or take a picture or anything electronically and share it. Even with everything that we capture on video or record or pictures, we never get a full story. It's always a half-assed story. So instead of adding fuel to the fire, I think we all should become solutions to the problems and changing the way that we react to stuff, think about things, or whatever we acknowledge before it changes us. Well, that's all.